Hi everyone. Ow! Oh my god, the tea is so hot today. We're here to continue with our little lore journey through Tribe. They're doing it again. Shh, over there. We're here to continue our little lore journey with Tribe 9. Oh my god, Hemi, why are you doing this game? Isn't this game shutting down in November? Yes, it is. I love the artistry of games, okay? So... Huh. Yeah. Was that a smooth introduction? There's just something about like the world building and the love that you can really see that gets poured into some of these games. Like, just look at the artistry of this pixel art of this game, you know? And it's because this game is shutting down that I really want to do really everything I can to preserve the artistry in the best way that I can and give this game its flowers while we still can. If I wanted to get popular, if I wanted to get rich, like, I would have just done Genshin more. Today we're talking about chapter 2 of this game, which takes place in Minato City. And just like last time, we're going to follow the same kind of structure where we'll kind of go through the background of what's going to be happening in the story. We'll do like a brief little synopsis of the story. Is the peanut gallery done over there? God. Then kind of get into the juicy details about like the different characters involved, the settings involved, the plot line, all that good juice. Let's get into it. Just a quick little like summary of what's going on in this game. So it takes place in Neo Tokyo, where people would resolve their conflicts using extreme baseball. And I was recently reading the lore within this game, and the reason XB exists is because they discovered certain particles in the air. They discovered, the power of science discovered particles. And these particles make people violent. And so they channeled these particles into baseball gear so that people can channel their violence into baseball. And so that's why they created the law to have people resolve their differences using baseball. At some point, this individual called Zero sort of descends and dominates Neo Tokyo, and he kind of gets rid of this XB law and introduces the governing rules into each of the 23 cities of Neo Tokyo. And these governing rules are like these societal games of death that are there to kind of like satirize, mock real societal systems and rules and norms. Our main protagonist, Mr. Kuronaka Yo, he is kind of compelled by Zero to participate in what Zero calls XG, Extreme Game, where Yo has to compete with specific individuals that Zero picked out that he calls the numbers. There's 9 of them. He has to compete against them using the governing rules and come out on top. And if Yo can beat them all and then ultimately defeat Zero, he will get kind of any wish granted that he wants. And that's kind of the setting. Now that we know a little bit about the Minato tribe, let's talk about the background of this chapter. Taking place in Minato City, let's talk about the governing rules. So, in this city, the governing rules are a class system. So at the top, you have a king, then immediately below them you have nobles, then you have the commoners, and then you have the underclass. Every resident of Minato City fits into one of these rings. If you hit underclass, you get killed. You get shot by Zero's lasers. Y'all remember that? Zero, the big bad guy? He has those lasers in the sky that he shoots people with. The way that your rank is determined is through a points system. So the way you get points is through dominance. So whenever you exert dominance over another individual, your points go up and their points go down. There's a few caveats with the way that the point systems work. people can challenge someone a level higher than them and they'll get more points that way if they exert dominance over them. But if someone exerts dominance over a person lower than them, their dominance will actually go down because it's kind of akin to like kicking a puppy, you know? It's like, we know you're stronger than them. We know you're above them. You don't have to kick them while they're already down. Like, that just makes you an asshole. It doesn't make you dominant, you know? And then in order for someone to challenge the king, they have to be a noble. So, as you might expect, in the context of the story, the king we have to deal with is a member of the numbers, one of those soldiers by zero that Yo has to challenge in XG. The current king of Minato City is number 9, Sui Yakuma. If y'all remember from last time, Yo was originally locked up in Zero's stronghold, 24 City, and the Trash Tribe, the rebel organization that wants to take down Zero, they made their way over to the 24 City with 2 of Yo's friends, and Zero ultimately kills both of these individuals and then revives them. One of them was his friend Tsuki Iroha, who we got introduced to last time. The other was this man, Sui Yakumo. So where Tsuki Iroha was kind of dropped down into Shinagawa City to immediately join up with Yo, Sui was dropped down in Minato City, where somehow he ultimately became a member of the numbers and basically became an antagonist. Oh my god, I just noticed, y'all, look at the way I position him. It's like he's pooping them out. Oh my god, what if I just put him in? He's sitting on Kazuki Aoyama. Okay, let's get into the story next. Continuing on from chapter 1, Yo is in Shinagawa City. He gets a little message from Mr. Kazuki Aoyama. This little guy right here, he gets a text message from him basically saying that, hey, Yo, I found Mr. Sui, and something's a little bit suspicious. Now, Yo and Suki, they immediately are like, oh my god, it's our friend. We gotta go get him. We gotta go find him. So they use the underground railways within the city. That's the only way that people can travel between cities. They have to walk the railway. Zero stops them and basically limits the number of allies that Yo can bring along with him. So he takes his friend Tsuki Iroha with him. He also brings along Miss Tsuruko Senba, the tutorial queen. And then he also brings along Yutaka Tanda from the Shinagawa tribe. So we have to leave behind Miss Minami Oi, Mr. Hyakuichitaro Senju, and Mr. Eiji Todoroki back in Shinagawa City. So the minute they get into Minato City, they're immediately confronted with the governing rules, people coming up to them trying to exert dominance and basically take away their points. They are able to meet up with Mr. Kazuki Aoyama, who was dropped off in the city, you know, back in the prologue. Zero separated the Trash Tribe and sent them into all different cities. So Mr. Kazuki was sent to Minato City along with Koishi Kohinara. That's when they tell them about Sui and how Sui is the king of Minato City, and he's been kind of going around and killing people. Yo and Suki obviously are a little bit flabbergasted by this, so they immediately go and try to find Sui. They find him, and ooh, Sui is looking a little bit aggressive when they come across him. They're quite shocked that their childhood friend is suddenly so unhinged, just crashing out, killing people all around him, basically taking down anyone who could challenge him. And so he takes out Yo and Suki. He knocks them unconscious, not before leaving a little bit of a cryptic message saying, Yo, you need to stop participating in XG. Huh? So the Trash Tribe takes away the unconscious Yo and Suki. They take him over to Mr. Santaro Mita of the Minato tribe, And Mita, obviously, because Kazuki was a former member of Minato tribe, they have a history, so Mita immediately trusts the group, and he takes care of Yo and Tsuki. We also, meet the quadruplets. Like I said, the quadruplets are just like nobody NPCs. Mita kind of gives the group the kind of lowdown of what's been going on in the city. So after the governing rules were instituted, the Minato tribe took action. Following Shun Kamiya's passing, Miss Arisugawa Saori became the leader of
Minato.
the tribe. She was kind of his right-hand man. So Miss Saori became the king of Minato City, and under her she kind of instituted this culture of altruism where people would kind of mutually help each other out so that people could mutually increase their dominance points. And kind of under her guidance, the city basically knew peace. People were at very low risk of hitting the underclass. Well, one day, for reasons unknown, Miss Saori decided to leave Shinagawa City. She didn't really give an explanation why, but before she left, she transferred the kingship over to Mr. Mita here. And then one day, Mr. Mita encountered Mr. Sui Yakumo and decided to help him. He was knocked out. This is obviously when Sui had just been revived by Zero. Mita helped him recover and kind of took care of him and watched over him until Sui decided to crash out, and he basically took the kingship away from Mita as he became a member of the numbers. And then under Sui, he reinstituted sort of this reign of chaos where people were at constant risk of hitting the underclass. So Minato City just went into all hell after that. Yo and Tsuki are convinced that Zero did something to Sui, and so they decided that because last time after they defeated the numbers, Zero gave them a reward, so Yo and Tsuki decide that they can use their reward this time to fix Sui, to stop whatever kind of... They think he got brainwashed, and so they'll use their reward to reverse the brainwashing on Sui. So they basically have no choice but to participate in the XG and take the kingship away from Sui. So the group, they go around the city to try and make Yo into a noble so that he can challenge the king. They quickly realize that it's going to be very difficult to garner enough points to hit nobility. That's when Mr. Kazuki starts to become suspicious of how the point system works. So he posits that perhaps there's some human touch behind who gets allocated what points. And so they come face to face with the people at the top nobles. They call themselves the influencers.
Derogatory.
And this was a group of individuals who, even before the governing rules took hold, ruled over Minato City from the shadows. The influencers are basically like that classical secret organization that rules the world from the shadows, And so they were given the power to manipulate the points by Sui. So the group kind of assumes that when Sui became a member of the numbers, his reward from Zero was the ability to manipulate points. So the influencers can manipulate anyone's points, and they were ordered by Sui, physically threatened basically, to sow chaos within the city. The only person whose points they cannot manipulate is the kings. Now, obviously, this kind of shadow organization, they hate being used. They're the ones who like having puppets in high places. So they agreed to help the Trash Tribe, and they manually make Yo into a noble so that he can challenge Sui and take Sui down. So now that Yo is a noble, they can go and challenge Sui. All during this time, Sui has been acting suspicious. He's super aggressive, but he has these moments where he shows a little bit of humanity. He steals the treasure of the Minato tribe, the beam bat, was the personal XB bat of Mr. Shun Kamiya, the former leader who passed away. Because at the core, Sui was a big fan of the Minato tribe. You know, the group kind of manipulates whatever humanity is left in Sui to convince him to play XB against the party. And resolve their conflicts using XB. So they do that, and they ultimately defeat Sui, and the kingship is taken away, and Yo becomes king. So he's given his reward by Zero, and as they desired, they want Zero to reverse the brainwashing on Sui. So Zero comes in saying, "Okay, I'll do that. Okay, done. He had no brainwashing, honey." This makes Sui crash out even more, that everyone thinks that there's something wrong with him. And so he physically attacks the group, and we have this big boss battle against Sui, and we defeat him again. Except this time, Sui collapses and dies out of exhaustion, but not before leaving the heartbreaking words directed at Yo. "I should never have been your friend." Anyway, Zero is a little bit sad that Yo basically wasted his reward before. So he decides to give Yo a second reward for defeating Sui a second time, and this time they use the reward to abolish the governing rules of Minato City. So bye-bye kingship. If you're wondering why the video is stopping here, it's because you'll see the next one is going to be pretty long. So I decided to separate out the background and story synopsis from the lore in theory, just to kind of reduce the length of the YouTube videos. I'll probably keep this structure going forward. We're still trying to just get our bearings down on how best to structure all this lore content that I want to do. You know, anyone who knows me knows that I will yap about lore and, video game stories and video game mechanics. Y'all haven't even heard me yap about video game mechanics yet, but don't worry, that's coming. Well, no, I had some shorts before I started posting long-form videos. Anyway, see, I'm already yapping. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day or evening. And I'll see you next time to talk about the lore and the